Bless you. It's great to connect with you another time, another session. The next two sessions, this one as well as the one following, is going to be quite short, I'm hoping. I'm just saying that by faith. The reason being is because this one verse, still in Ezekiel chapter 40 and verse 47, I'm cutting it in half because it's addressing something, and it's all within the inner court. We haven't left that yet. We are coming to the close of chapter 40, and after 47, obviously, we've got 48 and 49. I'll address that in our next session when I'm finishing up on this one verse, 47. But it's talking about two aspects within the inner court. This session, we're looking at, it's just addressing the inner court. That's all it's saying. Let's just read 47. I'll read 47 all together, verse 47, that is, all the way through. Then I will single out the area in which we are looking at just in verse 47. So what does verse 47 say within the Jewish text, in the Jewish translation? It says, then he measured the courtyard at 175 feet long and 175 feet wide. It was square. The altar was in front of the house. And we got that. It's quite clear. It's not in cubits. It's telling you what, so that at least if you can visualize 175 feet long and 175 feet wide, you'll be able to visualize that area was quite a large area, space. The King James Version, verse 47, so he measured the court 100 cubits long and 100 cubits broad, 4 square, and the altar that was before the house. And he measured the court. Now, who's the he? That's not a mystery, because we have already been told, more or less at the very beginning of this chapter, that there was an angelic messenger, and his appearance was bronze. So that, or he is the he that Ezekiel is referring to here. Remember, he has a rod and he has a reed. Isn't that so? He has a rod and he has a reed. And here he has been told, we have been told, we've been informed. Now we are only concentrating now on the first part of this verse, which is he measured the court 100 cubits long and 100 cubits broad, 4 square. In other words, the inner court was 175 feet long, 175 feet wide. It was square. It was square. So the walls, we can assume, and I don't think we could go very very far if we said that the walls of the inner court was the same height and the same width as the walls on the outer court, 10 feet high, 10 feet in depth, 10 feet wide. I don't think we would go wrong there, because to some extent, or to some well, would I be wrong to say that the the walls of the inner court are not told to us the height, neither the width. Does it matter? Because we know that if it matters, it's mentioned. But at the same time, we know that there was an inner court. We know that there was a wall within the temple complex. So are we then to assume that the walls are 100 feet, 10 feet, 10 and a half feet high, and the depth 10 and a half feet wide? Now, forgive me. Yes, forgive me. I should know the answer to that, because sometimes teachers, lecturers, professors, those who teach or lecture, the questions that they ask their students, more often than not, they know the answers to them, isn't it? I would think so. I mean, I think not to say that the teacher knows every single thing, because there may be a question that a student may ask of the teacher, and the teacher may say, "Let me come back." There's nothing wrong for the teacher to say, "I need to find that out." In other words, I don't know the answer, but give me time. The next time I come back, I will inform you. There's nothing wrong with that. But more often than not, it is the teacher that knows the answer to the question or questions he may ask. So I cannot remember reading through the scriptures here and touching on the little reference books I may have. I'm not sure that we have ever been told that the walls within that constitute the inner court have been measured. But we do know. But also, I think we ought to also remember that within the inner court and where the temple is, it is the temple, isn't it? Where the sanctuary is, that within there is the holies of holies. And we've got to understand that there was no one that could peer in, that could peep in. So there wasn't any way for anybody apart from the high priest himself that had to go in there once a year beyond the veil to present the sacrifice for the nation. Only the high priest. So no other priest, even though the priests could go into the temple at times, and I would say that they did, or they were able to do so, but only one could go beyond the veil, which was the high priest himself. So here we are told anyway that the space, the measurement of the courtyard was a perfect square. Perfect square. It wasn't oblong shaped. There wasn't any odd sizes or mismatch of walls, of sizes of walls or length of walls. It was a perfect square. But what this also showed, that a relationship with the Lord involved far more than just bringing offerings and attending services. Knowing the Lord involves having a personal relationship with Him. A person who truly knows the Lord will truly draw close to Him daily to have fellowship. That's what the inner court, the inner sanctum is all about. Yes, we start from the outside. We have to have purpose in going up the first 7 steps, whichever gate we use, the east, the north, or the south. But there are 7 steps. We prepare ourselves. We prepare and we bring our sacrifices obviously to the steps of the inner courtyard, where the priests would take the sacrifices that we have brought, or what was brought to them, so that they can make the preparation in the rooms, in the houses, in the areas that was set apart for them to sacrifice the animal. Then it is the priest who would then take the 8 steps to go up into the inner courtyard. And that is where, now we have the opportunity to do that. But back then, according to the law of Moses, only and only the priest could go into the inner court for you, bringing the sacrifice that you had brought, bringing that which you had willingly. And you see, even though the high priest or the priests are doing this, but it's showing that it shows your intention. You have a purpose. You are intentional because you want and you need to make have that closer communion with the Lord. Now, it is not the priest, it's not the high priest anymore that does that for you at this time, because God is that priest. Jesus was the high priest. But then you as the individual, we as a body of people, we have this opportunity that we can do it ourselves. Do you see how merciful our God is? And so we can go into the high priest, or go into the inner courtyard, and be intentional in our worship unto the Lord. I'm going to close off right here. Told you it's going to be short. In our next session, we're going to be looking at chapter 40, verse 47b, the second half of this verse, which is, and the altar that was before the house. We pray at the end of that session. God bless you.